Kimberly Meredith, thank you for being on In the Naad today.
Thank you for having me with you.
Like, we've tried twice to get you on, and we finally made it.
And I'm super excited about being here with you.
Oh, I'm thrilled. So, you are an author of Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, which is, wow, what a book. And I cannot tell you how much of it I identify with up until you get all your gifts. So while I want to dive into your history a little bit, I definitely want to get into the NDEs, but then I want to talk to you about what is the fifth dimension? What is it like to live in the fifth dimension? And how do you suggest that people might open themselves so that whatever gifts they have, they can realize? Because so many of us have these gifts, we can't connect to them because we have walls. So why don't you start a little bit by telling us about your near-death experiences, because everyone likes to hear about that.
Yeah, I had my first near-death experience almost a decade ago. I was working in the entertainment world and also was dedicating my life to nursing as a nurse assistant, and was a prominent medical consultant on many television shows. And I was shuffling a lot in my life at that time and also taking care of my grandmother who was in a nursing home at the time. So I was really stretching myself quite thin. And I just had gotten on a show that was a pretty prominent show about nursing homes. And it was a show called Getting On. And I was super excited about it, and I was going to the set and I was hit on foot by a car, and it was hard to really think about it now that I didn't want to give up that position. And
this is when you didn't go to the hospital. This is when you refused to go to the hospital.
Yeah, right. And it was a blunt head concussion that I didn't know at the time was a subdermal hematoma. So for just 2 of the days that it was going on, I continued to go to the set, and I was vomiting, and I was barely walking until I collapsed. And then when I collapsed, I was rushed into the emergency room, and I was clinically for 4 minutes pronounced dead. And at that time, I went to the other side, and I was completely immersed with the Holy Spirit through my body. I didn't know at the time, clinically, after that was called a near-death experience. I was seeing my grandma, my shaman grandma, Jesus, Holy Spirit. My partner at the time, who I'd been with for many years, said that he saw me going through many seizures. He couldn't believe when they told him that I was gone. And then after that, I was put through many tests when I was revived back, and I stayed in the hospital for over 3.5 months and had to learn to walk, talk, come back into a body that was no longer my body. I had completely crossed over into a new dimension, I would say.
For sure.
I wasn't really thinking that I would be living this life that I am now. I thought when I was in the hospital at the time, I would go back to the life that I was doing before. But I did know when I woke up that there was something different.
Well, right. You started to feel that you had these gifts, right?
It hadn't happened yet when I was at the hospital at that time. But I was, when I had come to from out of the outer body, I had a bright light come into the body when I woke up from the near-death experience, thump into my chest, into my eyes. When I was a little girl, I used to blink, and communicate with spirit. And my parental figures would slap me a lot and say, stop doing that. And I had a lot of trials and tribulations as a young child of having specific paranormal gifts. So, which was very peculiar with this NDE, that this light, this phenomenal light of the Holy One came through my eyes and my chest during this near-death experience that I had when they pronounced me clinically dead, that this light would come back into my body during this time.
Do you think that's weird? Don't you think that that sort of goes back to like the Christian eyes of the world and, you know, your heart, right, is the center of your entire mechanism. And so to me, I have heard these NDE stories where the person who's passed, they'll feel like either God or Jesus coming to them and pushing their heart back into their body.
I think so, yes. But I felt like at the time I wanted it to get up, to leave me. It was a lot of pressure, a lot of energy coming at me all at once. After it happened, they're channeling to you right now. It was them coming in and bringing me back to who I am today, which is the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what a magnificent experience on some level. I mean,
Yeah.
certainly complicated and intense, and I'm sure it took a long time to realize what you were going through. But at the end of the day, it was a gift.
Yeah, it was who I am, to come back in.
Came back in. So then you had
One more.
one more experience, and then you sort of found the person you are today and realized your gifts and started working with your gifts and bringing them to the world.
So I hear spirit from my left ear. I've always been hearing spirit speak to me from the left. They leave messages for when I do channeling or I do any kind of messages from the afterlife of any kind. They come from the left ear, and they always have since I was little.
Now, is it a group channel? Would you say that is it one voice, or is it sort of a universal? It's a universal.
It's a collection of different guides, spirit team, angelic beings, higher beings of all kinds, but mostly they're a spirit team. There's certain spirit teams that are healers. There's spirit teams. I work with Edgar Casey. I work with many different channels that come in, and specific channels that do the healings. I'm also a psychic surgeon healer.
Amazing. I mean, what a gift.
I've been doing it since I was little, but after the near-death experience, it came back even more full-blown.
So what do you think happened?
It just was the calling I was meant to do. So they took me out of the third dimension, which I was working in, and they moved me into this dimension.
Could you do our listeners a favor and explain the fifth dimension?
Magical energy of the fifth dimension is helping and serving without wanting anything in return. It's actually tapping into this intimate relationship with the Holy One. What they want you to do. I am not God. I am not that. I am a messenger to do the healing. What I'm saying to you is that we have a consciousness that can go beyond what a human consciousness can tell us.
Can soul contracts be rewritten?
Absolutely.
They can?
Absolutely. We have a pre-life review before we get here.
Right.
But most people don't tap into their life review of who they're supposed to be when they get here. To go back for a second, can still heal themselves without someone saying it's time for you to leave. Because you can be healed in the higher fifth dimensional and beyond consciousness. But going back to your path numbers, so everybody has a soul frequency path number, meaning like me coming in the world with my energy, with who I was supposed to be, and then pushed it away. And then I had my near-death experiences, and now I'm doing what I'm meant to do, to be here and carrying it out. You have path numbers. Everyone has a sequence of path numbers. Sometimes people will not know or feel like who they are or what path they're on.
So can the path be shifted as well? Like the way you can change your aura, or the way you can literally change your frequency. Can you change the frequency, your path frequency?
The guides that I'm working, which is the Elohim team. The Elohim team, the messengers of the angelic realm, they're telling me no. When you come into this life, everybody has a specific path of numbers that go up to, right now, they're only channeling to 2035, and then they stop. They stop.
Isn't that the beginning of the official beginning of the Aquarian age?
Yes, that is the awakening. My prediction, that is the joyful time of the awakening. They are only giving me a line of numbers till that date. Now, if you're born with these specific numbers, and each number has a message with those numbers to carry out, and they're calling it the mission, your mission.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
To do.
That makes sense.
And so far, I've been doing these path of numbers for people for 3 years now. And also, I do the numbers for you and your soulmate, or your significant other and children. And sometimes I'll do them for people with disabilities or other types of things to help them move out of different issues they're having. I'll even do it for moving, or I've predicted the fires, I predicted the hurricanes. Everything has a frequency, like you know, because you work with frequencies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Everything has frequency.
I actually work with this gentleman in Westlake Village, and he can scan me and tell me what emotions I'm having based on my frequency. Like, even emotions have frequency. It's pretty fascinating. Everything is energy, right? I mean, that goes back to Tesla and Einstein. Everything is energy, and all energy has a frequency. So it's. I mean, we're speaking the same language, and I love that, because it's so hard to find someone who can talk to you about. It's like speaking Chinese to most people. Like, we're talking another language, and we believe it, and we know it to be true. So when you map out people's frequency maps, I'm sure for some people it's really hard to follow or understand what that assignment or that mission is.
Yeah. People seem to be very, very excited, because I've worked with Ions, I've worked with Dr. Sheely, I've worked with a lot of people, and I've worked with, when I do a reading on people with the soul frequency readings, I don't know anything about you. And when I go in and do the numbers and they get their reading, they're like, wow, I'm going to go more in that direction. Because if I do a reading on somebody, because there's the fives, there's 2 different fives. There's the creative 5 and there's the business 5. And then the 7 represents somebody that has born with the 7 on their crown, is somebody that is immediately, since they were a baby, so immersed in the spirit of God, of consciousness, of holiness. So from birth.
So 7 really is the holy number, really a holy number.
It is. It was mentioned, like, I don't even know how many times in the Bible.
Of course.
But so say I don't know you at all, and I meet somebody and I do a reading on them, and I happen to see the 7 over their head, the first thing. Or I'm in an audience of 500 people and I pull somebody out and I come in and I do the soul frequency path numbers on them. And on top of it, I see that they've got breast cancer. So that's my work. I'll say, I see you have breast cancer. I see the 7 over your head. I see the 5. I see a 4, meaning the 5 to me, I'll hear in my left ear, she's a 5, but it's not the 5 creative. You're a businesswoman and you're a successful businesswoman. And she'll say, yeah, I run a company. The 4 is the 4 is a number that is like very pure and a kind person, a healer. So if somebody has the 4 first, meaning usually it's someone that's full of compassion and love, and you came here to do something of service. And even if you're a 5 and a 4, it means maybe you're running a company, but you do it with love and no ego. So there is another side of these numbers too, where I do see ego.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I do see the darker numbers.
Oh, I'm
come
sure.
in. But that's okay. And if I do a reading for somebody and I do see that, and the guides are coming in about that, and I do mention that, the person will go, yeah, I know, I do have that. And I was born with that. And I need to calm that down. And then if I do see something going on with like some element in the body, because that's what I'm known for, I'm a medical intuitive, I may get a hit where the guides say, do a laying on hands healing. So all of this is what this team that I have with me are doing now.
Now, do the team always show up for you, or sometimes you're on your own? Like nothing's coming through on the left ear, and you're like, okay, I'm on my own.
I wish that was the thing, but no, I'm
connected
a
to
walking trance channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's gotta be exhausting.
They're going, no. Yes is here and no is here. No, that's why they brought me back, is to work. I'm a full-time worker for them.
So it's just like an energy running through you. It doesn't get blocked, and you don't get stopped, or you don't get frustrated, or you've learned how to navigate your gift.
Yeah, I'd say like coming here with you today, like I ask, and they're like, yes, they want me to be with you. They want me to be, yeah. They'll say yes or no, or where to go, or what to do, and they just use me as their. I wouldn't say, they don't like me to say this. They don't want me to say puppet, but they go, no.
Conduit, maybe.
They use me as their conduit. Yes, thank you. They use me as their conduit. They use me as their messenger to do the work, and they want me to do they would want me to do more than I'm probably even doing, as many people as they can heal, and they want me to start doing more teaching.
God, it must be like such an honor to feel like this has been bestowed on you, and that you've got, and do you think we all have the potential? We're just closed, shut down to it? We have walls around us that because we're born as babies, we don't have these walls. We develop them.
I feel that's a very good question. I feel like they want all of us to actually, they want all of us to meditate every day. They want us to so we can get more connected to our main angels and guides. They want us to know who they are. They want us to be grateful and live in the gratitude. So we are constantly abundant with not just financial abundance, but
abundance is so much more.
Filled with the spirit of them.
Filled with spirit of God and gratitude and love.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk to them, and meaning know who they actually are. So that's something I really love doing, is getting people connected to actually know, is it your grandmother you're speaking to? Is it your aunt? Is it your best friend? Who are you actually really speaking to? And when you have the signs happen, so like say something happens where, oh my gosh, like, my mother really did show up yesterday with like a sign, and then when that happens, take a picture, keep it in your phone. Do something where you're really in the gratitude of it, and
you're acknowledging it, not as just a passing moment, but really a sign.
Really acknowledging when they do show up.
Yeah,
and being super excited about that and happy, and they love when you're childlike and joyous and I feel like the more you're doing that, the more they keep showing up and more beautiful things keep happening for you.
Well, yeah, it's like I feel that way too. It's like when you're in a flow or when you're in a zone and you're happy and you're in gratitude, things keep coming. Like everything, and then that wave crashes and you just want to catch it again. But when you're riding a beautiful wave, it's nice to be aware that you're riding it and try to keep it going as long as it can.
Exactly.
And that's also showing gratitude. Like, I know I'm blessed right now. I would do it. I really want to continue with this blessing.
It's amazing. I had some particular things happen like that with some children and some healing events that I've been involved with, where I'll be at an expo where kids will run up and go, I'm still healed. And I'll be like, that's amazing, Miranda. And this is the reality of the fifth dimension, where a child may have an incurable disease where she had a healing from me. And her doctor even said she's still healed. And I'll see her now. She's like, 9 years old, and she'll run up to me and give me a hug and say, I'm healed, Kimberly. And I'll have like a woman who came on and did a reading with me for, about maybe something with her boyfriend. And it was nothing about cancer. And I got hot chills and said, you need to get your breast looked at.
Oof.
And she found out it was 4-stage breast cancer. That's a little whisper in my ear. Or I laid hands in front of a big group and it dissolved within 2 minutes, a lump. And later on, I'll be out and about at another convention and she'll come up and go, praise the angels, it's still gone. Those are things that are, those are the miracles they're talking about. They're going to become more normal.
They are, as we elevate.
In the 2034 right. And all of that.
As our consciousness elevates as a whole.
And more people will learn to do this.
Listen, people are believing. There's no question. I don't know about your algorithm on Instagram, but all I see are people talking about enlightening experiences and miraculous spiritual healings. And it's like, wow. I mean, there was a time when this was a hush thing. There were communities that people would go and live in because they didn't want people to know about their gifts because they'd be thought of as witches. And this is in the 50s.
Well, that's what happened in my family which is really weird because I didn't know about this, which is funny. But in my life, my great-grandmother, Josephina, was a shaman and a healer. And she lived in Italy because I'm Italian.
So am I.
But no one spoke about it, and she was healing blood poisoning and doing more of the herbs and things. I don't do that. And they were moved out of Italy. It was half my family was from Genoa with a blonde, and the other was Sicily. My mom was dark Italian.
Mine too.
But the other half was lighter Italian with the green eyes like me and the blonder. And they were moved to Jamestown, New York, which is near Lilydale.
Oh, that's one of the towns I'm telling you about.
Yes.
It's
and
crazy.
My uncle almost married Lucille Ball. They did hay rides together. This is so bizarre. And my great-grandma, Josephina, she had in the back of the house all the herbs. I'm getting chills right now because she always comes around when I talk about her. And it was hush-hush. And the doctors in town would send people to her, and she would do it in the back. If you saw her picture, you would be like, oh, my God. Now.
Would I see her? Would I see the auric?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So when I had this whole, thing happen to me, and I lost my life, I saw her. She came right at my face. Okay, now, when you have a great-grandmother, people they just don't talk about it, in the family. It was always kept a hush-hush. And my mom died young. She had an overdose. She was a beautiful actress, and we lived, here most of my life. And when I came back and all that, and I was home recovering in the wheelchair, I have a great aunt alive. Her mother was Josephina. And she came to the house to see me in the wheelchair. And I said, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to walk again or hold my head, but I'm getting energy in my hand. And I'm seeing this woman. And she goes, that's your grandma Josephina. And I said, and my hands are getting hot. And I'm hearing the Hail Marys, I said. And when I put my hands on my neck, I feel like I'm healing it. She said, I think you're getting the gifts that she always wanted us to have, and we never could get it. And she showed me the sachet that Grandma Josephina always held, and in Italian, there were the Hail Marys that she would hold. Now, after I became a full-blown channel and the messages were coming in, and I started going out to the expos and laying hands on people and dissolving things, I started hearing her in Italian going, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. It's her. it's her coming in too as I do the healings. So she came in. So a lot of people, when they start learning who their guides are, it's amazing how our ancestors come in.
Soul family? Would you call them the soul family?
Yes, and want to be with us along this journey.
How beautiful. I mean, really, how beautiful. Two questions I'd like to ask you, because you make a lot of both of them in your book. The first is your palms. You said that you were born with very unique palms, and that you had certain lines on them that other people didn't have, and you were aware of it at a young age. The other thing is the blinking, because I think that that's sort of your iconic, right? That's your trademark, or is the blinking. That's the way that the channel comes through you, right?
Yes.
So will you tell us a little bit about both? Because they're extremely unique, and I think that sometimes people have these eccentricities or uniquenesses, and they don't necessarily think of them as blessings, and they oftentimes are.
Yeah, I feel my blinking has been since birth.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
At 6 months old, it became more and more apparent. My grandfather was friends with a famous director, and they had started filming me crawling around and blinking. And my paternal father's side. And my grandmother just said that's her way of being. So, but they were worried about it.
They thought it was a tick or something, right?
Exactly.
Right, but it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't.
No. Now I save lives with my blinking.
Right.
Yeah. And then my hands, I always would look down and say, they're different, aren't they, Grandma? And she'd say, no, you're fine. And then kids didn't want to hold my hands at school, and they would make fun of it. And I was bullied a lot. I was called names for wanting to heal people at school. I was always saying, let me do a healing on you.
You're doing it on animals. I mean, it's just
I was
so
always saying
intense.
that. And then now my eyes that blink are picking up in different codes and stuff like that are happening more. But I pushed the blinking away around, I feel like it was around, I was 8 years old around that time. My mom remarried when I was, I think, 7, and my stepfather and her demanded me to stop blinking.
Right. I mean, God, if you could just tell parents to let their children be and explore these aspects of them that we try to shut down. Thank God they weren't successful.
Yeah. Until my near-death experience, then they came back.
Yeah, well, your eyes wanted to blink, and thank God, right? I mean, we have to be ourselves.
Yes, and it's an intuitive channeling, and there's many people now that take classes from me, and I teach, and I love it. And many people can learn their own abilities of how they can learn to tap in, whether they're a psychic, a medium, a channel, a healer. I feel we all can have different ways to learn to tap into these instincts and also learn discernment.
So, first of all, I'd like to, at some point, I'm going to ask you where you teach and how people could find you. But do you think that we are all ultimately capable of having these gifts?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, yeah.
You do think so, really?
That's what I was getting at. I feel like people that don't, it's sad, because I feel like you don't need to be a person that's going to be like, oh, I'm a psychic, or I'm a medium, because the people that I work with, they have no interest in going out and like telling people they're doing it. They're doing it for discernment. They're doing it just for their own self, to say, I'm really working on my intuitiveness for being in this world right now. So I can navigate.
Of course.
Yeah. So they're not going to do it to make a living at it.
They don't have to.
They just want to do it because, I'm getting chills about that right now. They're just doing it because they just want to have a better hit on, should I go to the market today? Should I, date this person? Should I, just for good intuitive abilities.
And synchronicity in life. I mean, it's such a valuable
We need
asset.
it right now.
We do. I mean, it's in a weird way. You're following your heart's path. I mean, your heart is connected. Your heart's the guide.
Yes.
But your heart is the brain,
yes.
right? It's the machine. It's where we operate from.
Right. Should I go on that trip?
Right.
Should I stay this job? Should I move here? And when you develop your clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient abilities and all these things, you really do yourself a huge favor of making the right decisions in your life.
I do think you have to have an open heart.
Absolutely.
Right? And but I think that's the hard part. I think people who have been through pain, people who have suffered, even times it's even something they don't know, like even going through the birth canal could be a traumatic experience, which boom, closes you off. And the hard part really is opening the heart. Then it can flow. And then you can tap in to your resources or living in the fifth dimension. But how do you open the heart? How do you open a heart that's been closed?
Opening your heart is really trusting your faith, the faith in yourself. And a lot of people have lost faith in a higher being. And I have such a strong faith in God and such a strong faith in my guides and the angelic realm. And you can't do it alone. You need community, you need friends, and you need people that you can trust too. And it's important to have that. My life has had a lot of ups and downs, like a lot of people. And when we go through a lot of ups and downs, we have two ways to go. We can go into fear, we can shut off, we can become more skeptical, or we can go in further, which is having more faith and hope and love, and really go into that fifth dimension, which when you're in the fifth dimension, you're fearless.
Right. Makes sense because you're surrounded by God.
Absolutely.
You're living in the presence of God.
I love Jesus. I love the Holy Spirit. And I love the omnipresent, which is I work with the Elohim. And when you're in that energy, you are superhuman. You have the superpower. Nothing can stop you.
I bet. It's like when you have your Kundalini awakening or when you have an amazing meditation, or for me, psychedelics. I don't know how you feel about that, but all of this stuff brings me closer to God. And when I'm in that moment, the peace that I'm surrounded with and the confidence and the assuredness that all will be okay, or at least all will be as it should be.
Yeah.
Is ever present.
We're only going, I don't feel we're going backwards. I feel we're going forward.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I believe whatever somebody feels good about doing, like you said, psychedelics or ayahuasca or crystals or meditating. I haven't missed a day of meditation in 10 years.
Nor have I.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So
that's saying a lot.
Whatever makes you feel like you're promoting an energy throughout your body to cause an intimacy within yourself, connecting to the higher energy, the higher power, is only activating more of yourself and gaining more of yourself and openness. And I feel can only help create more of a power existence here in the world. And I feel that it's when the ego gets in the way.
Yes.
I always say ego or I go.
I love that. Did you come up with that? Did you coin that?
I don't know where I got it. I
It's
just remember I always
so
say
good.
it. I just always say it.
You got it through your left ear.
I always say it.
It's so true. I mean, that damn ego, and it pops up when you need it least. It really knows how to manipulate and maneuver and gain mastery. And that's why meditation and all these practices really do us well, because they help us stave off the ego.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot to be said also about feeling good about the communities that you're in and safe. And I feel that being with people right now, especially if people feel alone, I feel it's important to be with others.
Well, they do say that loneliness is right now the greatest pandemic,
Right.
and I believe
Yeah.
that. I believe that.
And calling in like a lot of the divine feminine is good and masculine, and having a balance of that masculine and feminine energy, my guides are saying.
Just calling in, I don't know if this is true. You could certainly tell me, but they say that the guides really answer your call and that they like to be called in. So when you're feeling any kind of way, you say, please come to me. I'm calling to my guides. And they hear you, but they do like to be asked to come in.
Yeah, I do that. I teach that and do that myself every night. I have a pattern of really sitting down and knowing which ones are working with you on certain things in your life. And then, like you said, asking, and they love to answer.
Right, they love to answer.
They do. They do. And they love to show you those signs and answer.
What a blessing just to know that we have our spirits or our guides or our soul family that's there to help.
And part of the book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, in there is saying we don't need to worry right now about getting into these other dimensions. It's one step at a time. If we can at least just get into the fifth dimension, meditating, eating healthy, looking at our relationships, step by step, our world can at least be in a fifth dimensional state of consciousness. We are going to be so happy with just that, the guides are saying.
And we're heading in that direction.
Yes.
I can also, I have a little gift of my own where I can actually see high frequency people. I can see this energetic field around them that's sort of dancing.
Wow.
And it's like a bouncing dance. And I can see it. And so I know. And by the way, it changes. Like somebody with a very high frequency can come in one day crying and I'm like, ooh, they're off their mark today. Like I don't see that same field. And it just takes a little work or a meditation. But we do fluctuate. We're human beings. This is a human incarnation. And we have to give ourselves we have to forgive ourselves or allow ourselves to dip in and out when we need to. And that's okay. Because the thing of it is when you come back from a low period, you realize it was a learning period. And it would be wonderful if while we're in those periods, we can realize that we're being tested and we're learning. And that in of itself would be a gift. Like I'm going through a shitty day today with my son, and I'm saying to myself, I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking, you know what? It's just a lesson. I'm going to get through this, and we'll be fine this afternoon. But peaks and valleys.
Yeah, exactly. And the interesting thing about that, the dance, I feel when you've reached your consciousness into the fifth dimension, we are human. But the thing is that we don't stay low in the 3D for days on end. We bounce back faster.
Oh, right, of
which
course.
is very cool because when you've worked on yourself in that fifth dimensional space of gratitude, before we would stay down in that 3D for like 2-3 days, but now we bounce back up higher faster.
Because you've done more work.
Exactly.
Like the more
and
work
that's
you
what's
do, the
really
quicker
cool
the
about
rebound.
it.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
And
by the way, you know when you're in a low, you're like, wow, I got to pick up my frequency. I got to meditate now, or I've got to go listen to Kimberly Meredith's book right now.
Yeah, and remembering that you're not a part of the answer. You're turning it over to the Holy Spirit and to your guides to work it all out. And when you turn it all over, it always works out. It always works out.
You let go.
Letting it go.
Letting it go.
Letting it dance. Letting it flow.
It's a hard thing to do.
It's amazing.
Until you practice so much that you realize,
and that's the fifth
if I let go and let God,
if
I let go and let God, it's going to work out a lot better than if I control.
Yes.
Because control, you lose everything. There's no such thing as control.
Right.
We have no control over anything.
That's why it's really beautiful to be in that dimension where you can just breathe.
And you're probably always in the moment, in the present when you're in that dimension.
Yes.
Everything's present, and you're present.
Yes.
Yeah, I've dipped my toe in, but I cannot say that I live in that space. Although that is definitely the goal.
Yeah, but like you're saying, we're all here on a journey to help our brothers and sisters, and we're all learning as we go and keep moving. In the next few years to 2035, there's going to be so many amazing things happening, and all of us in the community working in this magical process is going to be so fun.
Well, I feel like it's happening.
It's going to be exciting.
I feel like it's amping up and it's picking up and it's gaining momentum.
It's going to be fun.
So let me ask you something before we close this out. A few things. First of all, what advice do you have to people who want to sort of follow your path? They may not be where you are, but they like what they hear, and they say, you know, I like what she has. I like what she's offering. I like the way she lives her life. Other than reading your book and reading your second book, which is about to come up, what would you suggest?
Gosh. I would say the people that follow me and follow my work, you know, read my book. I would say Awakening to the Fifth Dimension is I feel it's an easy read. And I feel thank you. And people are reading it a few times. And to understand, I didn't write it. I channeled it. This book is coming from the higher beings. They're advanced beings. Some people haven't read it all the way through. Please try to read it all the way through. And also, please try to take yourself every day into a space, even if it's just 5-10 minutes, where you go into the higher dimension. Rest your brain and mind. If you can have a mind-blowing experience where your third eye just, I know, sound effect.
It's unbelievable when it happens.
Like that. I have it every morning when I wake up, and I just see, I see God, Holy Spirit. Please experience that, because we're all going to hopefully be doing that more and more. Practice, discipline. If it's getting into a group, I am teaching classes on the contact of your guides and angels, and get in a pair, even if it's at home. Like, okay, one of the classes I like to teach is telepathy. So telepathy is really cool. And just any kind of practicing in classes is super important for your brain.
How do people reach you?
I'm at thehealingtrilogy.com.
That's simple enough. Yeah.
The guides made that website name.
So in my head, I'm already booking you. I'm already booking you.
And right now, I'm mostly online teaching classes, but soon I'm going to be teaching in person.
And do you do one-on-ones if people want one-on-ones?
I do one-on-one sessions for children, animals, and adults.
I love that. The animals are such a big part of your life. I love it. You're like St. Francis of Assisi. It's so cute.
I like doing animal healing.
Oh, I bet.
And I do have an office in Encino, California.
And it's so important to do animals because most people can't know what they're saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? We have horses, and my daughter's always saying, I want to know what they want. Do they want to retire? Do they want to keep working? Like, what can I give my baby? What can I do to make him happy?
Yeah. I love horses.
Oh, they're wonderful. I love all animals.
Yeah.
Kimberly, thank you. This was such a treat. I feel like this should only be part one. When is the new book coming out?
Well, I'm in the process of channeling it right now, so it's probably not going to be for another year.
Oh, no. Okay, well, we'll wait. Something to look forward to. Please come back when that book comes out.
I would love to.
And I know Hudman Joe would love to sit down with you here too.
Yeah, I see really amazing energy around you and numbers, and I can't wait to do a reading for you privately.
I can't wait. Okay, we'll set that up as soon as we turn off this mic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
God
much
bless
for having
you,
me.
and please continue doing your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bless
you.
you.
Bless you too. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam.